Welcome back to my series, The Bible Doesn't Make Any Sense. Today's episode, 1 Corinthians chapter 14, Genesis chapter 11, and a few other verses as well. So grab a snack and settle in. So one of the most well-known Bible verses in the entire Bible is God is not the author of confusion, which can be found in 1 Corinthians 14. For God is not the author of confusion, but of peace, as in all the churches of the saints. And this verse is echoed a lot in the church. But God is the main one causing confusion in the Bible, like on multiple occasions. The most well-known one is in Genesis 11 with the Tower of Babel. For those who don't know, the Tower of Babel is a story where the people decide to come together to make a tower that will reach heaven. But the Lord came down to see the city and the tower the people were building, and the Lord said, if as one people speaking the same language they have begun to do this, then nothing they plan to do will be impossible for them. Come, let's go down and confuse their language so they will not understand each other. So the Lord scattered them from there over all the earth, and they stopped building the city. This is why it was called Babel. And the word Babel itself is cited to sound like the Hebrew word for confused. And Genesis is supposed to be in the beginning. That's literally how Genesis starts. And so he just started Earth, and he's already like, let's confuse the humans. I don't like what they're doing. And you know what this reminds me of? Genesis 3. Because God said the man is now become like one of us, knowing good and evil. He must not be allowed to reach out his hand and take also from the tree of life and eat and live forever. So it sounds like he confused the people building the tower for the same reason that he banished Adam and Eve from the Garden of Eden, because he was scared of his own creation and what they had the potential to do. I'm also wondering where the free will aspect of it all kicks in, but of course it doesn't end there. Another example is in Deuteronomy 28, which I've spoken about a lot on my page. Because in this chapter, Moses is talking to the Israelites about blessings for obedience and curses for disobedience, according to if the Israelites follow God's laws or not. The Lord will send on you curses, confusion, and rebuke in everything you put your hand to until you are destroyed and come to sudden ruin because of the evil you have done in forsaking him. Then it says it again, the Lord will afflict you with madness, blindness, and confusion of mind. At midday you will grope around like a blind person in the dark. You will be unsuccessful in everything you do. Day after day you will be oppressed and robbed with no one to rescue you. Damn, so he mentions confusing his own people, not once, but twice, just because they didn't follow his laws. So again, God creates confusion when the people aren't doing what he wants, like not following his laws. But I'm still not done yet. Let's jump to Exodus 14. At this point, the Israelites had already escaped Egypt, but God is still talking about hardening the Pharaoh's heart so that he will pursue them, but then says, I will gain glory for myself through Pharaoh and all of his army, and the Egyptians will know that I am the Lord. The Egyptians pursued them, and all the Pharaoh's horses and chariots and horsemen followed them into the sea. During the last watch of the night, the Lord looked down from the pillar of fire and cloud at the Egyptian army and threw it into confusion. So God hardens the Pharaoh's heart. Again, this is like, what, the second, third time that he's hardened the Pharaoh's heart? So that the Pharaoh and the Egyptians would come after them again, and so that he could confuse them and kill them all. Why? Because God loves the drama. And he loves to inflate his own ego. He literally says, I will gain glory for myself from doing this. That one was for the Christians out there that like to say, well, God causes confusion for specific reasons. He always has a reason. What was the reason here? The Israelites escaped. The Egyptians were leaving them alone. The Pharaoh was done, and God was still like, nah, I still want to fuck with them a bit. I also love to bring up 1 Kings 22, where God sends a deceiving spirit to trick King Ahab into going into battle and dying there. Causing confusion, sending deceiving spirits, it's about the same shit. These are just examples that I can think of, like, off the top of my head, of this God confusing people and, like, causing disturbances and shit. Christians love to say, oh, God is not the author of confusion and the devil is a liar, but all God is doing is confusing people and the devil hasn't lied about shit not one single time. At this point, I'm wondering if the Christians have even read the Bible, because they're getting the character traits mixed up between these two characters.